to the ugly truth.
Ooh. God.
Set the time again.
I'm doing it.
We really have to get back to our shorter shows because...
Does it matter? Have you noticed a difference?
Yeah, people will listen to the whole thing when it's only a certain amount of time. 15 minutes is probably a little too short, so we'll do 20.
Yeah, all right.
So with that being said, we have so much to talk about. How have you been?
I'm well.
Good.
You know, working and being... I know. Doing all the things
all
that I
the
do.
Things and all the stuff.
I have an almost 13-year-old.
Oh, my God.
13 in 2 weeks.
Isn't that insane?
No, I'm sorry. 3. Something like that.
Is he having a party or anything?
Well, he's having surgery, so he will probably be laid up when his birthday comes. But that's okay.
Yeah,
I just bought him Dragon Balls. The new game just came out.
So he'll just play that and chill?
Yeah, it drops on Tuesday, I believe, this week.
Well, I hope the recovery is quick because it's kind of like a finale to the original surgery, right?
It is. So he has a rod in his arm and they're going to take it out.
Yes. I was on Threads the other day and somebody goes, hey, has anyone noticed that we don't see a lot of kids with casts on their arm at school anymore?
Is that because we pamper them and they don't hurt themselves anymore?
No, I think that we have learned a lot about children and how to how they sport, and I think they are a bit more supervised. I don't think they're left to their own devices as much.
That's true.
I was listening to Bill Burr.
Well, they're all in their rooms playing.
I was listening to Bill Burr's podcast on our way home from Carmel, which we will talk about briefly, and I was making Daryl listen to it because I love Bill Burr's podcast personally. I think he's funny as hell. And he's a little older than us, but not by much. Mm-hmm. And he goes, everybody's always like, kids are inside all the time now. They don't even know what it's like. He's like, it is true. And he doesn't think it's a totally bad thing that they're indoors doing other things. He goes, but let's not act like when we were outside, we were just playing sports.
Oh, hell no.
He goes, we were destructive. We were doing shit. He goes, I remember, I was like 9 or he was like 10-year-olds. And we were, the children were always like, get out of my house. What are you doing in here? Get out. But mothers were constantly yelling at us. They literally locked us out of our own homes.
Yeah.
And said, go find something to do.
But to be fair, now looking at that time period, the reason why they threw us out was because there wasn't anything for us to do but to be in their face. We didn't have games and TV. Or
we didn't have Atari.
No. And so there was so we were running around like Banshee Indians.
We were just wild. We were wild.
Well, all children
listen,
were wild.
I know that our childhood had its significant traumas, but I will attest to this. Our mother is mentally drained because we were particularly difficult children. We were very creative.
Were we?
Oh my God.
So you don't think other kids were?
No.
We were different?
No, okay. I don't think so. Some girls peacefully played with dolls and they just and they're like, where's Josephine? Oh, she's been up in her room playing Barbies for hours. That's
true.
What a lovely child.
Our Barbies
She's so quiet. Our Barbies were bald and
they were
had
bald,
tattoos.
And they had lobotomies.
Eyeless. They were eyeless. How many times did we rip legs off to see what was inside?
They had brain surgeries.
I remember autopsying a Barbie leg because I wanted to see what was inside. I'm like, wire? What? There's no bones in this? What is this? Why?
So true. They don't even make Barbies when we had Barbies, their legs were like that rubber.
They were rubber.
Yeah, now they're hard plastic.
Oh, they don't bend anymore?
I think the feet do. I don't know.
Oh, so you can get
I just know they're different now. Yeah, they're different.
Anyway, so he's like, he goes, kids were outside. We weren't just playing baseball. We were out there destroying things.
Yeah.
We were setting up. He goes, I remember one time I went into the back. There's always wooded areas wherever we grew up, right? I went to a wooded area and I took some matches from my dad and I set the backyard on fire. He goes, and luckily the neighbor was out and saw me doing it and came over and put the fire out. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing, Bill? Starting
shit on fire.
Yes. Anyway, it was really funny. And I thought that was funny. And he's like, funny. I don't know if it's a really bad idea that we don't let our children run around unsupervised anymore in the streets. He goes, I remember one time.
I couldn't do it.
There was a car.
Anxiety.
Well, kids never left their street. They kind of were just in front of their homes.
But now they'll steal you right from your front of your house.
And honestly, Stephanie, there was such an uptick of kidnapping and death on children
because they were so available.
Didn't give a shit. They were ever. It's like, God, it's like a candy store.
And nobody was watching. Yeah,
and then they find them in some wooded area 30 feet from their home.
Or they never found them. You just watch America's Most Wanted now. They'll be like, we haven't seen this child in 30 years. Have you seen Harmon? And you're like, oh my God.
I don't know where that boy is, but I got to tell you,
I know where he is. I don't know where he is physically, but we all know what happened to him.
We do, and I think multiple people were involved. I don't think it was just the one woman.
I don't know.
I think there were multiple people involved, and it's disgusting.
I would have hoped that if that were the case, that somebody at this point would have cracked, but
it's like a cone of silence, man.
Well, nobody wants to go to prison for the rest of your life. I don't care how old you are. And we all see these cases where they don't catch you till you're like 80, and you're like, yeah, okay, if I get caught when I'm 80, then that means I had 50 years of freedom.
Can I tell you that when that stepmother, who we all know had some involvement
Terry
in it,
Hutchinson, yep.
I could not tell you. Whenever that happens and it's a stepmom, I get so personally offended.
Same.
Because we're
Of
stepmother.
what we went through.
Well, and I'm a stepmother myself.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So like when I see someone like Robin Brown on the Sister Wives,
Right.
or I see this woman who I obviously probably killed her stepchild, and I'm like, I'm a stepmother, and it makes so many stepmothers who work so hard to be decent
Agreed.
parents, and then you go, see, it does matter that they're not your child. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't always matter.
God,
It doesn't always matter.
But we obviously had a bad stepmother too. So it's like,
Same.
Jesus
One
Christ.
of us could have easily ended up dead, except
Easily.
for our stepmother, thank God, was dumb as a box of rocks.
So
she
glad.
couldn't fight her way out of a paper bag.
Yeah. Anyway, on that note, our friends Glenn and Greg invited us to Carmel many months ago, and we're like, yeah, that sounds fun. I realized I have never been to Carmel without children.
Oh.
Never.
You should never go to Carmel with children. Who would want to?
I know, but every time I've been, I've had children with me.
It's such an adult playground, but yeah.
Either the very first time I went to Carmel, I brought my son, and he was like 3. And then the next time we brought all of them. And then the time after that, it was Malia and her friend. So I've never been to Carmel childless.
Well, this must have been really fun then.
I was looking forward to it. And Greg and Glenn, they know. Now, you know Carmel pretty well, right?
Very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I thought about you the whole time. So they're like, oh, you're going to have so much fun. We have a laundry list of places we're taking you. It's going to be amazing. I'm like, okay, can't wait. Now, I will say this. I am shockingly very introverted. I'm not the most outwardly social individual.
Yeah, I agree.
Greg and Glenn are extroverts.
Yeah, I know.
Very extroverted. They will talk to anyone.
And everyone.
Unironically. Like, they don't care. Their favorite thing to do is to sit at any bar anywhere and just start striking up conversations.
Oh, God.
They'll buy rounds. People buy rounds for them. They get phone numbers. They take photos. I mean, it
sounds amazing, but I would just never.
amazing.
Yeah.
But that's just not,
Me
I
either.
would never sit at a bar and go, so how you go? What are you guys doing here?
Never.
Never. I am appreciative of it because they make me do things that I would never do. And
That's great.
And I do appreciate that.
My friends are like that. They do that for me.
Yes, exactly. So,
Not that exact thing, but for other things.
Right. So we stayed at the Normandy Inn, which you probably know. It's an iconic historic building hotel.
Okay.
It's literally a block away from the beach.
Okay. Oh,
It's on, and it's the blue hotel that has all the English flowers.
Okay.
It's very well known. And I didn't realize this until every tourist who's not from the United States is in front of it taking photos and videos.
Oh,
They're doing
cool.
live streams from Japan. Like,
Can they be like, look where we are?
this is the iconic Normandy Inn. And I'm like,
awesome.
I'm
Lovely.
like, and they're like, we're staying at the Normandy Inn. We've never stayed there. We're like, okay, we will too. So when we booked the thing, it was all sold out except for their cottages. They have cottages and houses.
Darn it. Well, that sucks.
So
Must
we're
have
like-
been a dump.
So luckily it wasn't over the top expensive. So we said, okay, well, we'll stay at the cottages. And we're like,
Off season? No, not really. Well, yeah, kind of, huh?
it is. And because they got a really good deal.
Well, because kids are in school, yeah.
Yeah, so they got a great deal. We got a good deal. We're like, okay, cool. So we get there, we check in, and we're like, oh my God, this cottage is so nice. We loved it. We hung out in there after hours because, of course, in Carmel everything closes at 9.
I know, I hate
because it's so sleepy.
Well, it's very old.
I could not believe,
But
the
everything
age.
opens at the crack of dawn.
It certainly does.
I mean, you'll look out the window at 6:30 and there's people walking, and they've been up for hours.
And I'm like, what? And I'm not a morning person. Like,
Neither am I.
I know. So I wake up and I'm like, there's so much ruckus, and I'm like, what is going? It's 6:30 in the morning. I'm like, what the hell?
They're out doing their strolls.
I look out the window.
They've already had coffee.
People have already checked out. They're cleaning. People are cleaning the rooms. They're cleaning the cottages. Yes, because they've checked out for the day. So
I hate every time we check out of a hotel when we are pulling out our luggage, we open the door. The maids have already cleaned the whole hall.
Absolutely.
We are the only ones that are leaving.
They're like, there's no late checkout here.
No, hell no.
So that's like, you have 15 minutes.
But I mean, checkout is what, 11?
It's 11.
How can you be? Okay.
That's so. And by the way, 11's early to me.
It is early.
I think that's really
That's
early.
one of the things I love about going to the city is because a lot of the hotels check out as noon. And I'm like, now this is more like it.
And when you do a late checkout, it's 1.
It is.
But they're like,
I've even had hotels that say you can stay till 2.
they even said, by the way, just FYI, when he's checking in, getting our cards, he goes, they're like, there's no late checkout here. And if you're not out of your parking spot by 11:15, we will tow you.
Damn.
They are not kidding. They're not messing around. They're a historic building.
Yeah.
It's very in demand.
You know how much money they probably
we
make?
had no idea. We had no idea. We got so lucky getting this.
Yeah,
we had no clue.
Because it was a weekend, right?
Yes, we checked in on a Friday.
Oh, yes.
And so
I bet you they were sold out by Saturday.
they were sold out already. Like,
Oh.
because we tried to downgrade. We're like, hey, do you have any rooms? Not that we didn't want the cottage, but we're like,
you're like, what's the point? We're just going to be,
And they're like, no. We're like, okay, never mind. So
like, do you know who we are?
we did not.
Oh,
So Friday night, we go to this really cool, there's a rooftop restaurant. It's kind of a chain, but whatever. And so the next day, we're like, okay, today's the day. Saturday, we have a full day. So we're walking around.
You have energy.
Beautiful.
You're not hungover yet.
Nothing. We had a wonderful time. And so we're walking around and we're like, well, we had breakfast at this great place. I can't remember the name of it.
Is it Katie's?
No, it was, I can't remember the name of
It's
it.
okay. I don't care if it's not Katie's. Katie's is the shit. And it's kind of annoying because it's one of those places where you almost always wait and they don't take reservations.
Of course.
But
So we went to this other place and we had missed the rush because, as you said, everybody gets up at the crack of dawn.
do.
So when we
They're done
wandered
by
in,
8:30.
we wandered in at like 10 o'clock and they're like, oh, hello, a late bloomer. Well, okay, come on in. And there's like
we were just
nobody.
about to start serving lunch.
There was nobody there. There was like 3 people finishing up their breakfast. We're
I
like,
love
this is
it.
amazing. So Daryl, they're known for their Bloody Marys. So Daryl orders, I don't remember which one he ordered, the British or whatever. And it comes with like, it's one of those
Was
ones.
it like a gallon.
No, it comes with like an appetizer tray.
It's got like shrimp and a pickle and a
It had 2 wontons, a
lobster tail.
It had a lumpia. It had a prawn, a fried prawn. It had a piece of celery, meatballs. It was like and it was like 3. I have a photo. I'll share you. I'll share the photo with you. And so he's pulling it all off, and we're waiting for our breakfast. And Daryl's all, does anybody want any part of this? And we're like, I think we all want a part of it.
It's an appetizer.
You've got a literal tray of appetizers on your drink. It was like 3 feet tall. It was insane. And so we took pictures of it, and everybody tried all the shit, and it looked amazing. And we were just so hungry at this point.
Oh God, yes.
Because the food wasn't great the night before, so we were all
when
real
you
hungry.
go to a place where, like, for you guys, because you guys are diehard foodies and you've been to so many amazing places, but if you go to a place where you already know it's a chain, like in this case, like you said, what's the safe thing?
I ordered pizza.
Okay, because I'm like,
Daryl
I'm
ordered
not gonna try their top sirloin steak or some specialty.
Steaks.
No.
I think what it was with the first night was when I say chain, because they don't allow franchise chains in Carmel. It's all individually,
which is why I was like, is this new? Because I've never.
No, it's a guy who owns 3 restaurants.
Oh, okay.
In Carmel.
Okay.
And his number 1 restaurant is the Mediterranean restaurant, which no one can get into. It's busy from the time it opens till the time it closes.
Yeah, it's
we
one of
wanted
those.
to go, and it just
Impossible.
People were still dining at 11 o'clock at night. Like it is very popular. That's the one that everybody.
Try it.
Yes, that's the one everybody wants to go to. Anyway, so they're like, well, we have a tasting at Albatross, which is a winery tasting room. We have a tasting at like 2 o'clock, but we can move it up because we were kind of ready to, get the day going.
Oh yeah.
So we go into Albatross and we start wine tasting at like 1 o'clock, and it's great. We're having a great grand old time. And they're like, okay, well now we can go to Talbot, which is over on the other side.
I think I've seen that.
It's a winery over by a restaurant called The Pocket, which is where we were having dinner. I'm like, yeah, let's go over there. So we go over there. Now I had already had a mimosa at breakfast. So then we did some wine tasting, and she was very generous because we were the only ones there. So she was letting us try member-only wines. We were really having a grand old time. And so we bought some wine, which we really didn't need to do. But we did it anyway.
Doesn't it seem obligatory, like you have to kind of when you do? I mean, I guess unless it's really bad.
What was really cool is she's the winemaker's wife because nobody was working that day. So she was running the tasting room. And so she was like telling us all about everything. It was really cool.
That's cool.
And so then we go to Talbot, which is kind of a well-known winery.
I even know who that is.
Yeah, I've never been.
I don't think I've drank the wine.
I haven't
but
either.
I've seen it.
So we walk in, we have this woman who has the Betty Page bangs.
Yes.
And she's wearing like a half shirt, But she's very nice, but she won't make any eye contact. She keeps like side-eyeing back and forth. Like she will not
all of you or just...
Yeah. She won't look us in the eye. And we're like, okay, she's a little unusual.
She's on cocaine.
It's fine. Oh, she clearly we thought was definitely stoned or something.
Usually they like the white powder there.
She gave us a great pour. We did a red. They did a white tasting. And then we ordered some charcuterie because we were like, we haven't eaten since breakfast. And it's been like 4 hours at this point.
Oh, I'd have to.
Now I'm drunk.
Yeah.
I'm just drunk. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So we're finally getting to the last. We're getting to the last pour, and I turned to Daryl and I said, "If I drink this, it's going to taste like medicine. I can't drink one more thing. I don't know how you guys are drinking so much. I'm so done." And so he's like, "Well, she's coming back with like the stuff that we really wanted to try." I'm like, and there's no spit buckets.
You're like,
because they're used to people just gobbling it down.
Well,
so I'm like,
leave it in the glass.
So I shot it.
Oh, Jamie.
And then she poured us the final pour. And at this point, I'm sitting down. I'm like, I can't stand anymore because we had been standing.
Yeah.
And so I found a chair. And she goes, "Oh, you guys can sit over there." We're like, "Oh, thank God." So I sit down. I'm like, oh, my God. And I wasn't wearing heels. Nothing like that. Good. I'm not dumb. We were walking everywhere.
That's the thing I love about Carmel. As fancy and as rich as it is, you can pull
very
a
casual.
hoodie and the jeans off.
No problem. It's very casual.
I love it.
So finally we finished. We're like, "Oh, this has been so great. Okay, we all got to go home and get ready for dinner because we're going to go to dinner now." And I'm like,
did you have like any time in between?
We had like a couple hours.
Okay, thank God.
So I go back to our room and I crash immediately.
Yes.
I'm like, I have to sleep. I'm like, I got to sleep this
or
off.
I'm going to be worthless.
So I wake up, I'm buzzed, but I'm fine. So I get myself ready and we meet them and we walk. Walking, thank God, is really helpful when you're drinking all day.
Water too.
And we did drink a lot of water.
Just keep drinking water.
So I felt fine. When we go, we sit down, and there's some things going wrong with the restaurant. One is the lights kept flashing. There was a light getting ready to burn out in the dining room, and it looked like someone was taking your picture constantly.
Annoying.
So they finally just turned all the lights off.
Okay, now we're sitting in the dark.
Basically. But it was light enough that you could kind of see because everybody had like electronic candles on their table.
Okay.
Except ours burned out.
Oh, fuck.
And no one came.
And no one bothered to replace it.
No one came to
Is this
fix
like a fancy kind of place?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
Now, Greg and Glenn, they're like, this is where we come for our anniversary every year. We love it here. So they're very like, this isn't normal.
They're dedicated. Yeah.
And like our server came and, Glenn's like, "Hey, can I have a Diet Coke?" Because he needs something beyond booze. And he's like, yeah, sure. Never brought it.
What?
And then they asked us about bottled water or sparkling or whatever. And we're like, "Oh, we'll just get still water." So they were charging us $3 a bottle and didn't tell us. And finally, Greg goes, "Hey, are you charging us for every bottle you bring? Because we've gone through 3 at this point." And she goes, "Oh, yeah." And then walks away.
Was it like big bottles? Like pouring them in your glasses?
Yeah.
Jesus Lord.
And I'm like, this is your place?
Okay.
The food was good. But I'm like, the service is kind of subpar, and I'm not happy about it because this is their anniversary dinner, and it's supposed to be really nice. We had a great table and all that. And I'm like, this is not okay.
No.
So
especially probably for the money. I can't imagine.
So foolishly, the next day, I'm like, "Did you guys like the pocket last night?" And Daryl's like, "What are you? They love the pocket. Why are you?" They're like, "Well, we liked it. You didn't like it." They're like, "Well, we noticed you didn't eat your food." I'm like, "You guys eat constantly." I was so full.
Jamie, even
I tried so hard.
They're men. They're men. They have money and they're gay, but they are still men.
They eat. And Daryl too.
And drink. I'm sure Daryl was inhaling. He's like, "It's fine." What?
Oh my God. He was eating so much. And I'm like, I forgot that I am with men. And so I'm like, you guys are eating. You guys eat all the time. And here's the thing, Stephanie. I can't poop like a normal person when I'm on vacation.
I know.
And I'm sharing a room with a man.
Right.
He can poop all the fucking time. And I'm just like.
So he doesn't care if you're there?
No.
Daryl?
No.
He's not like, "I'm going in here. No. Please don't pay attention." Or
nope, not at all.
See, thank God Jerry's like that.
He's a little more private. Yeah.
Little.
He's like, "I'm going down the street. I'll be back."
No, I don't know. He usually does it when I'm like incoherent. Like I'll probably be passed out and I didn't even know what happened.
Now, out of courtesy, Daryl will try to go to the bathroom when I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
And he'll shower and everything.
Yeah, yeah. And that's how Jerry does it. Yeah. So you never know what's happening in there.
But for me, it's like, and
he runs the blow dryer. That's just a good tip for couples.
My bowels are done until we get home. And there's nothing I can do about it. I've tried a million things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as long as you're not in agony.
I just keep getting so full. I can't eat one more bite of food. I'm like, I need to fast for like 36 hours. I cannot. Yeah. Then we're like, "Hey, everything's closed. There's nowhere to go." But there's this place called the Terrace Inn. Have you heard of it? It's Doris Day's hotel.
No, I haven't heard of it.
Okay, it's iconic apparently.
The last time I went there, honestly, and stayed, I'm sure a lot of things have changed.
Everybody has said you have to go on Saturday night and you have to see Deborah sing.
Okay.
Because there's a piano room in there and every night they have live music. And this woman, Deborah, is iconic. You have to go see her. We're like, okay, cool. They're like, she looks like she's 60, but she's literally 80 years old, but you would never know it. So we go in, Deborah's singing Frank Sinatra. The place is wall to wall people. All the hotel guests are in there watching this entertainment. And she's like, thank you, everyone. She's very much, you know, the Saturday Night Live where the two women, I can't remember their names, where they are singing piano tunes on Saturday Night Live. They're like, thank you, everyone.
Being
thank
funny.
you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what it was totally. That's totally what it was. It was lounge music and everybody's drinking their cocktails. Most people are hammered.
Oh, I'm sure.
And they're all older, much older. But locals come there.
Well, older people have money too.
In Carmel.
Yes.
And so they go there and this is their thing. And so she goes, well, this is our last song of the night. And we're all standing around watching. And Greg's all, she has amazing breasts. And I'm like, does she? Goes, and her back is so toned. And he's like, I can see why people think she's younger than she is. And I'm like, I am not convinced this woman is 80. I'm looking at her face and she does not look like an 80-year-old woman. And so she's singing and doing her thing.
Well,
and
apparently we don't look 50 either.
And Greg's like, can you video her? Because we can look at this later. I'm like, yeah, sure. So I'm videoing her. So she sings My Way and she's doing all of her things. And then she goes, I have a request. Somebody wants to dedicate a song to their stepmother. So I'm going to sing Jolene by Dolly Parton.
Oh, God.
So she's all, Jolene, Jolene, Jolene.
Is she breathing?
Yes. All the heavy breathing, all the drama. And she goes through the first half that we all know, right? And then when it comes to all the other parts of the song, she doesn't know it. So she's kind of mumbling her way through and she's trying to find lyrics on something. Glenn is a diehard Dolly fan. Like, he knows everything about her, like a lot of people. But if you're a diehard Dolly Parton fan, Jolene is like one of the main songs that everybody knows. Well, when she started mumbling the words, he goes, this is so disrespectful. He goes, I'm going to the bar. And he leaves.
So dramatic.
I laugh so hard at him. I'm like, he goes, you don't sing Jolene unless you know every nuance of that song. That is disrespectful to Dolly. And I'm like, I just love you so much. I cannot. I laugh so hard at him. And he knows he was being funny, obviously. He knows he's being funny, but he's like, I've had enough of this. And so he walks away and goes, I'm going to the bar. So we go to the bar and they're like, no, we're closed. We're like, oh, that's right. Greg goes, and then I'm going to lead into my awkward moment. Greg goes, oh, I know of a place. It's called Carmel. And we're like, okay. And so we walk many blocks. Oh, and all of a sudden we hear the,
and you're like, we're getting close.
He goes, we're almost there. Do you hear that? We're like, oh my God, we're going to a real bar? He goes, yeah, it's the only place open.
Oh God.
There's one place called like Sadie's or something, and that's the local like watering hole, and you don't really want to go there. We passed
That's probably where all the staff that work at all the places
and we walked past it, and because it was like 9:30 at night, it was wall-to-wall people, and it was probably all the all the workers. So we go to this Carmel place, we show up, and there's all these cutie pies in their 20s wearing all black turtlenecks, and they're standing, and we walk in, they're like, hey, welcome, and they give us, they pretend to look at our ID, and we walk in and there's a man doing DJ work and he's playing great songs. The cocktails were unbelievably delicious. They were so freaking good.
Like craft? Or?
Yes, they were craft. And there was a wedding that had happened. They'd had some kind of little and this looked like a place that they turned into a bar. Like it was like a gathering place, and they just kind of turned it into a bar. Oh. But there was a full bar. There were tables. There was table service. It was really cool, and it was age range from 21. There was a 21-year-old having a party because she turned 21, and then there were people that had come from some place. They were wearing like hippie wear costumes, and they were like 80.
Okay,
it was every age. Music was hopping. Everybody's singing. I was sweating.
Oh my God.
I know. And I'm like, finally I turned to Daryl and I said, I got to get out of here. I need air. And it was like 11 o'clock at this point. We'd been there for almost 2 hours. I'm like, I got to get outside. Everybody's having a grand old time. Glenn's in the corner waiting in line to go to the bathroom. He's got both hands up like Mr. Mime. He's like, woohoo. And Greg's like, stop doing that. You look old. He's like, it's only one hand in the club. I love that. Oh my God. God, it was so funny. And so
those two cracked me out.
I went outside. I had a very large craft gin and tonic. It was gorgeous. It had like things coming out of it and it was delish. And Daryl followed me out. So they had some tables, some little small round tables and stools. And it was, by the way, the ocean mist was so bad that it felt like it was raining, but it wasn't. So I go to sit down on the stool, and the stools look like little eraser heads. They were very small. And so I sat down on it, and they're tall because they're bar stools. And I'm like, I need to adjust. So I hold the table to scooch over to get on the thing, and the stool tips.
Oh no!
And instinctively I grab the table,
and the table goes with it,
and the table tips too. So they both tip. I did not fall, thank God.
Thank God.
But the drinks fling off.
Oh shit, that's right.
And they fall.
Fuck.
The quote unquote bouncer looks at me. He goes, "All right, you've had enough."
What the hell?
And I'm like, okay, well, I didn't do anything. Your fucking rentals fell because this is cobblestone, and the stick of a stool hit the seam of two cobblestones and tipped.
Yeah.
And so no less than 3 people came over and they said, "You didn't do anything. I saw the whole thing." And I'm like, "Really?" And they're like, "No." I go, I always know when I'm at fault for a fall or a tip or whatever. I had literally no control. It felt like chaos. And so they walk over and they're like, "She didn't do anything. You're not kicking anyone out. You're not doing anything." And I'm like, "Thank God." I'm like, people came to my aid immediately.
Thank God.
And I was not sober, but I was not sloppy.
You weren't like, yeah.
I don't get sloppy anymore.
I don't either. And if I do, I leave.
Yes.
Because I'm like, I don't like the way I feel.
No,
and
I was fine. And so I'm like, look, I know that I am not completely sober, but I am not sloppy. I don't do that in public anymore. And so and then Craig and Glenn, they're like, "What happened?" They're like, I'm like, "You missed all the violence." He's like, "What? There was a fight? Oh God, what? We missed it?" No, we were fine. So then
I was fighting with a bar stool and a table.
And then we go home. All is well. We had a late start. We go to Pebble Beach the next day, have brunch, watch all the football games. It was amazing.
Nice.
By the way, Pebble Beach, Stephanie.
That's where I want to die.
First of all, it's called the Hay. Tiger Woods apparently put a bunch of money into it. So it's kind of like the place where you can putt for free there. It's kid friendly. The bar is beautiful. It's a Mexican restaurant, so you can have brunch, and we had an amazing time. And we were able to watch the Raider game because they have all the tickets, obviously. So we were able to watch the Raider game and the Niner game. It was amazing. Anyway, all right. Well, that's enough of Carmel. I was so overstimulated after that weekend that I couldn't wait to get home and just hibernate. Mm-hmm. But it's because I'm like, this is how extroverts are all the time. How do they?
I don't know how they do it.
I think they just sleep. They sleep and wake up recharged.
Well, no, I swear to God, like we were talking about,
and they're so positive and happy. And I'm like,
this is my best friend.
I want to be that. But I came home,
not me.
And Daryl's like, no. And I said, I need you to stop talking to me.
Yeah.
And he goes, really? And I go, I've had enough.
Yeah, I cannot.
Because Daryl's pretty extroverted too.
He is.
Not as much as they.
No, he is.
But like we went to a place at the last night before we left. We went to a place.
I feel sorry for him sometimes being around all of us.
We closed down the place and there was a guy playing live music, and he played for an hour longer because we were having such a good time. Greg bonded with him, and he was sitting in front of him singing.
Greg bonds with everyone.
All the songs. And I took a picture. I'm like, "Do you see yourself singing?" He's like, "Oh my God, I don't remember doing that." I'm like, well, he loved us because we kept tipping him.
Sure. He's like, these people are drunk. This is amazing.
Yeah. He's like, and I said, "Thank you so much for playing a little longer." He goes, "Well, I played an hour longer than I was supposed to, but the owner is ready for us to leave." And the owner's standing in the corner in the dark. He's just like staring at us. We're like, "Bye. Thank you, sir." We just walk out.
He's like, "You're not cute and funny. Get out."
Well, we spent a lot of money in there. He's fine.
I'm not saying that.
But
I'm
yes.
just saying.
Anyway, I couldn't wait to get home and just like not exist.
Yeah.
It took me days to recover.
I bet.
Days. But it was the funnest time. And then just yesterday, I'm like, this time yesterday, we were having wine tasting at Talbot. I miss it.
That's like, everybody does that when you go on vacation.
Oh, yeah. You finally go back and go, oh, it's so great.
Once you recover and you're not tired anymore. Yeah.
I can't wait to go back.
Then you want to go back. Yeah.
Someday.
Well, there's much to do there. You guys should do it again.
We saw
You could go 10 times and still.
Stephanie.
Yeah.
So
still
much.
Have a fun time.
I love it. Anyway, and I told Daryl, I said, honestly, had we not gone with them, it would have been a way different trip.
Yeah.
Like we wouldn't have seen half the stuff.
I'm telling you, I love them for you guys because they do really.
Oh my God.
They make you guys reach down into the depths of your soul and do these things that you wouldn't. And I appreciate it's fun to do things that somebody else does that you wouldn't do.
Honestly, this is why I need more friends and Daryl even said, he goes, they're really good for you. And I go, they are? He goes, yeah. Yes. Because they make you do stuff you would never do.
Absolutely.
I'm like,
friends are good for you. I'm not good at them. I'm having friends. I'm not either. So my circle will probably always be small. But
I just think I'm so unlikable. I'm just like so not easy to get to know.
I'm not. It's not that you're not likable.
I'm just so closed off.
But with me, I have so many idiosyncrasies.
I do too.
That I appreciate someone who can tolerate me because I know I'm a lot.
Yes.
So I'm really grateful for the friends that I have, the 2 that I have.
Yes.
Because they have to deal with that, but they've gotten used to it and they know me and we have a great time.
I just need my friends to be really someone I can trust my life with.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do.
It is.
For others are like,
that's why I love Veronica and Veronica because
you do.
Yeah, and they're like us in the sense of they will fight a bitch.
I love it.
Still, like we know we're old and overweight, but if push came to shove, we would fight. We would roll around on the ground, 100%. And they would.
Oh yeah,
I know they would. So I would never be left alone to my own devices.
There was some moment not that long ago where I felt like I was going to get physical with somebody and I don't remember what it was. And I'm like, I think I still have it in me actually.
We talk about it a lot, but then we are all like, God, would we really do it? I'm like, I told you when it happened to Veronica, she was like looking at the ground. She's like, that's gravel. That's going to hurt.
She has to really decide.
She was like, am I really going to hurt myself? Like, honestly.
You won't feel it till after anyway. So it's fine.
I know.
All right. Well, thank you so much for listening. We'll be back next week. Bye. Bye.